Hello, my name is Aaron Bailey and I'm the VoiceWare Product Manager here at PhoneSuite. What we're going to be doing in today's video is looking at an enclosure that you can use with a VoiceWare Express installation. If you're not familiar, VoiceWare Express is a new offering from PhoneSuite where a 1U rack mount VoiceWare appliance is paired with gateways in order to complete the installation. All of that equipment is rack mountable. In most cases, the hotel is going to have an equipment rack in their phone room and hopefully enough room to install the VoiceWare equipment there. However, in some cases there won't be enough room on the rack or there's no rack at all, which is why we're making this video about this particular enclosure. This enclosure is a rack that you can mount to the wall, and also the enclosure itself offers an additional layer of security to ensure that people aren't meddling with the equipment while you're not on site. So let's take a look at the enclosure. Keep in mind this is not something built by PhoneSuite. This is a third-party piece of equipment. Look in the description for this video and there'll be a link to the manufacturer's website so you can buy the equipment. Also note that this comes unassembled. So you need to factor in assembly time if you're going to drop ship this to the site. We recommend, if at all possible, assembling it in your shop first and then taking it on site. However, if you do have to drop it on site, make sure you give yourself at least an hour of additional time to unbox and assemble this case before it can be used. So let's take a look. You'll notice that every opening has a lock with a key, so you will need to keep track of those keys. And you can see here that there's just a rack inside of this enclosure. This rack has square holes, so there are pins included to screw equipment in with a normal screw. Also note that unless you're filling the rack completely, you do have space on the bottom here to put things like a PoE switch as needed. You also can buy a rack-mounted power supply that will allow you to plug all the equipment in to the power supply here and then run one cable out, one power cable, to plug in and power the entire unit. There is a fan here at the top that's included that'll help circulate air through the enclosure. There's also punch outs down at the bottom and the top to allow you to run your Amphenol cables and power cables. So you do have a lot of options there. As we spin the equipment around, you'll notice that we have an opening on every side. So we can open the equipment and access it from all four directions. So in this case, this door just comes off. You can access the side of the equipment as needed. What makes this enclosure nice, and one of the reasons we recommend it, is that this mounts to the wall and the entire enclosure can swivel out. So that allows you to access the back of the equipment anytime you need to. You don't have to make sure you plug in the cables and then mount the gateways. You can mount the gateways and then plug in any sort of cables, Amphenol cables or power on the unit by just swinging it out. So you can see here, there's again a lock to keep the equipment locked away. So if we unlock that here, this will swivel open and you have your rack inside as well here. Finally, you have one additional door that's similar to the door on the other side. It can be removed to access the equipment here. And there you have it. That concludes our brief tour of this particular enclosure. Keep in mind that if security of the equipment isn't as important, if they have a good door on the phone room and you're not worried about it, another option instead of an entire enclosure is simply a wall-mounted rack. And it's a very simple, very small, and very much easier to assemble rack that just simply screws to the wall and allows you to mount the equipment with screws and allow it to just be open. Those, again, are much cheaper, much easier to install, but don't offer the same security and look that this case will offer. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at support, and we thank you for taking the time to watch this video.